So I'm Anurag Singh, the current Android dev lead in GDSC GEU. So I'll be your camp counselor throughout this course, and I will be trying my best to answer all your queries and make you learn and develop Android applications. So starting off with, what is Compose Camp? So Compose Camp is a community organized event that is its main focus is to teach the Jetpack Compose framework. And if you do not know what it is, we'll be getting there shortly. So it is just a framework that is used to build user interface. So this camp is all about learning this framework and building applications. So what is Jetpack Compose? Now, before we go into details about Jetpack Compose, we must learn about basics about what is app development. So in simple terms, app development is the mixture of UI and your backend code. The user interface includes all the buttons, and anything that a user can interact with. For example, buttons, search bar. It can be list that you scroll, the Instagram reels that you scroll, right? So that all comes under user interface, which with which the users can interact. Now there is the backend code that is responsible for defining the behavior of your code. For example, when you click a button, what is going to happen? When you scroll a list, what is the next content that you'll be seeing, and many other things. So, uh, so our main focus would be on the UI part, as we are talking about the Jetpack Compose. So Jetpack Compose is relatively new. It is a new framework. So before this, we used to use XML layouts for creating user interfaces. Now, what are XML layouts? XML is a similar language to HTML, which is also a markup language. And if you see that both have similarities, uh, both use tags to define the structure of the user interface, and both one is used for the web development, of course, and the second one we used to use for Android UI. Now, what was wrong with the XML that we have to come up with the Jetpack Compose? Now, the problem with XML was that the user interface, the UI part of your mobile application, used to be in a separate file that has an extension .xml, and the XML file itself contains very redundant code. Now, what do I mean by redundant code? There are pieces of code that were not necessary to write, but it was necessary to write those code, otherwise the program won't work. So when you are creating large projects, it's a very hectic thing to do. Other thing was that XML layouts needs to be stored in different directories, and so it will require extra files for creating the user interface, and then you have to connect your user interface and your backend code. So for that also it requires a, extra lines of codes, and that process is called inflation. So this much thing was required for XML. Now for Jetpack Compose, it removed all these constraints. Your Jetpack Compose in itself is a Kotlin based framework. So your UI is the code itself. Now, what do I mean by that? Is that your user interface doesn't need to be sitting in a separate file, but you can code your user interface in the same file as your backend file. And there is no need to connect your user interface with your backend code, because it is already in your backend code. So to show you actually the real thing that Jetpack Compose solved, I'm gonna uh, so our task is to output this test in the mobile. So we can do this by two ways. That is, the one is the XML way, and then there is the Jetpack Compose way. So Writing this using Jetpack Compose, using XML file would be something like this, in which we'll be creating a text view and then we'll be entering the text, and then there is the color and text size and other stuff. So this is the code for this is the XML code that is required to print that text on your mobile screen. Now, if we compare it to this, then you see where the real difference comes in. Both these code generate the same result, and you can see yourself what is the difference between the two. See, if you look at these, you will be seeing like 14 or 15 lines of code, which is done in this manner that require almost 5 lines of code. So this is the power of Jetpack Compose. Now talking about the benefits, as I showed you in the previous slide, that it requires less code than the XMLs. It is intuitive. That means your app state changes, your UI automatically changes with the app state. Now, what is app state? If you see, like for example, you see in Amazon app or Flipkart app, whenever you go to the search field and you type some words, there would be suggestions that would be coming in. So the words you are typing in is the state, and the suggestions that you are getting is the UI that is continuously changing as per your data. So you can do this in the Jetpack Compose. And third is accelerates development. Obviously, if you're writing less code, so it is obviously going to accelerate the development process. And it also comes with certain tools with which you can review your user interface, and also it is compatible with XML code. Since this Jetpack Compose framework is new, so it is not obviously feasible to throw all the XML code in the garbage and then adopt Jetpack Compose. So it has been made compatible with XML. So you can use your XML layouts in the Jetpack Compose also. So you will get the benefits of Jetpack Compose also, and you will still be able to use XML layouts. Powerful meaning it comes with a lot of features like themes, animations, dark theme, light theme, and many more. So you can create a very user engaging user interface for your app. So through this workshop, there are two ways of going. One is the beginner track, then there is the intermediate track. In the beginner track, we'll be going from the basics. That is, first we'll be learning the Kotlin programming language, which is a language that we need to learn for Android development. And then then subsequent workshops will be based around Jetpack Compose itself, and we'll be building user interfaces. And we'll be at the end of the workshop, we'll be creating a tip calculator app in which you will learn about states and many more things. In the intermediate track part, it is similar to the beginner, but it is for those who have experience in Android and who are familiar with the XML code layouts. So they can skip the Kotlin part because they must be knowing previously. So they can jump right into the compose part. So they can join us when we are doing the compose. So let's talk about what is in the beginner track. So there are some prerequisites. It is the basic computer literacy and basic logical thinking. Basic computer literacy will be downloading some files, so you need to know how to do that stuff. And logical thinking is just to come up with solutions to develop to tackle some problems that you will be getting whenever you are developing apps. So what you will learn, you will obviously learn the basics of Kotlin programming language and building user interfaces using Compose. So the unit 1 consists of introduction to Kotlin, just the basics where you will be learning about variables, data types, loops, control flow, etc. In the second part, we will be downloading the Android Studio, which is an integrated development environment for developing apps. So it is a necessity that you download this if you can before our subsequent workshops, because it is a must-have tool for Android development, because there are many tools that are required. For example, emulators, layout inspectors, app inspectors, and many more things. So these tools are already present in a single software, that is the Android Studio. And in this only you will be writing your codes. Then building a basic layout would be creating basic layouts, and in which you will be learning how to create a birthday app. In the second unit, it would be more about Kotlin, so as to develop more uh, advanced advanced Android applications. Then we'll be creating a button, and then there will be some state related stuff. Then there will be more Kotlin fundamentals. Then the level of difficulty will be increasing with the course, so you must be consistent with the course. And the last unit till now we have is architecture components, in which you will be learning about view models, state flow, etc. And then there is navigation. Navigation is for when you, like for example, when you have a Flipkart screen, there are multiple screens that you can navigate to. You can navigate to your cart, you can navigate to your profile, you can navigate to the order screen. So this is what this second pathway of Unit 4 is all about. And then third is adapting your Android applications to different screen sizes, because Android operating system is in many devices which have various uh, whose height and width varies uh, with devices. So you can learn to make your user interface adapt to to that particular Android device. So as I said, there would be two ways that for first, the people who have no programming experience, they have to start from the beginning and learn from the basics, that is the basics in Kotlin language. And people with a certain level of knowledge about Kotlin, they can skip some units to jump right into the Kotlin part. Kotlin, not Kotlin, Jetpack Compose part. And all these materials that I showed you, these units would be in the form of modules that whose link will be provided to you. And under each module, you will get these pathways, and there would be there would be a hands-on experience to develop, because you will be developing apps by first reading it, learning it, and then you will be creating the apps yourself. So it will be great for you to follow this module itself. At the end of each module pathway, there would be a quiz in which you can test the things you have learned. Then there would be additional resources, practice problems, open-ended projects that you can add to your profile also. If you have GitHub account, then you can post it there also. So after each pathways, you will be earning digital badges, which will be showed to your Google Developer Profile screen. So this is from my side. So if you have any questions, then you can drop down your questions in the Q&A, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Aditya Pratap Singh, you have asked prerequisite of a PC for Android Studio. So I would suggest to have a minimum of 8 GB of RAM. It is because less than that your PC will hang, and it happened in my case that my PC just stopped and restarted again. So it would be good if you have 8 GB RAM minimum, and 64-bit would be good. Can I run Android Studio in my quad-core AMD Ryzen 3700U processor? Mahesh Semwal. Brother, if you give me the RAM, you just need a RAM only. You don't need such complexity in your processor. Just 8 GB RAM would be enough. Okay, okay, it would be fine. It would be very good. Mahesh Semwal. Please mention processor and SSD. Just 8 GB RAM would be enough. There is no need to go in details about the processor. Sir, sir, you can call me Bhaiya or you can call me Bhima by name. So, sir, since nowadays, okay, so Figma, so they are used to design the UI. So, I didn't understand the question. So, you are asking why they are not being used in the like what you are asking. Can you like explain? Okay, so I understand your question. So it is not that we are using programming languages to design UI, but we are using programming languages to build UI. Figma and Adobe XD are used to design the user interface. It is not that they they are here to build those stuff. It is just like the planning that you require before building that. Okay, so if you, okay, Tanish Panwar have asked that if I'm going to teach you or I'm going to provide module. No, brother, I'm going to teach you. Uh, as I said, it would be on the dates of 14, 16, and 18. The schedule will be provided to you. Just be active on the social media site and you will get all those dates. So on those dates, I will be also sharing the content that I'll be teaching you. So I will get you started to for Android development. Then you have to proceed with the modules uh, to advance your journey in Android. Yeah, Siddhant, it is for beginners only. It is going to be from scratch. That is, you will be first learning about the programming language that is required for Android development. And we'll be going then to advanced stage, like then we'll be touching the Jetpack Compose to build the user interface. And then we'll be actually building a app that is actually working and you can use it. So that is going to be the plan for the workshops. There are three workshops that are going to be happening after this workshop, so you can check that out. Okay, so Mansi Agarwal said, is React Native better than Kotlin? What should we prefer? Actually, I haven't worked with the React Native. It is better than Kotlin. I think React Native is used for building apps for both Android and iOS. So I will not go in the details about the cross-platform development, but saying that one is better than other uh, isn't something that I prefer because everything has its own use. So Kotlin is best for Android development. React Native is, yes, it is famous, but I'm not the right choice to be answering that question. So for Android development, you can prefer Kotlin because it is the best. So Tanishq, we have to go through the course fast, right? I cannot take two, three classes of 30 minutes each because there are my commitments also to something that I have to pay. But so every session would be of like if everything goes well, it would be like 130, 1 hour 30 minutes. But it depends. It depends upon the material that is being taught and how well the response is, right? Samriddhi Gulati asked, is Android dev easy? Uh, is Android dev easy? Like when I did it, I'm still in my second year. So I did my Android dev in first year. So first of all, at first it was overwhelming for me, and then when I got familiar with the environment, then it got really easy for me. So at this starting, it will really be overwhelming, but staying consistent would be very helpful, and you will definitely uh, be comfortable with the environment and the Android, and you will be good in Android development if you stay consistent. If you have any questions regarding Android dev after this session, then don't hesitate. We are available on the Discord platform, so you can post your questions there. There would be me and other mentors that will be there to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, then after this session, then you can ask there also. Okay, so uh, most of the most of the students asked like Android Studio. You were confused about the Android Studio, so don't worry. We will be having a workshop for that also, in which I will be making you explore the Android Studio. So don't worry about the Android Studio, but just have a simple this prerequisite that you need 8 GB of RAM, and any processor would do, just not i3. I think i3 would be slow. I think i5 would be great. And except for that, you don't need anything. You just need to sit up at a place, and you can be good to go. Okay, Mohan Singh Brist asked what languages we have to go through for Android app development. So earlier we used to use Java also for Android development, but Kotlin is the official language, has become the official language since 2019. So it is backed by Google, and it is the only language that you need to know for Android development. And once you get familiar with it, you would be you would be loving it, right? If you don't believe me, then you can go to Stack Overflow survey, and there also it is said it is loved by a large community of Android developers. Okay, Anurag Sharma. Okay, Anurag. Uh, don't worry. The next workshop would be about Kotlin only, and I will be starting from the basics, so you can learn from there only. And I think that would work. Just practice after the workshop. It would be great. You will love it. How did you manage first year curriculum, DSA, prob, and Android dev and all that in first year? Mm, frankly speaking, I missed a lot of classes, and actually, some my first semester was half online, so that was also helpful. And other than that, I skipped a little bit of classes to practice for Android. So that's how I managed to do Android dev. If you're passionate, you can do anything, and it is all up to you how much time you want to give in.
Anurag, I'll
Okay, so
suggest
we wrap up.
everyone about the timings and on what day what you are going to teach whatever things. Like do notify them about the timings and the like timetable kind of stuff.
Okay, so as said, if if the people present here, if you have any problem with the timing 6 p.m., then you can type in the chat like 6 p.m. no, or you can suggest any timing, because I think it is up to you what time you are free, so we can arrange the session then only. The curriculum would be shared with you. Don't worry. Okay, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. 8 p.m. would be not good because in hostels the 8 p.m. is uh, the dinner time, so it won't be possible then. Okay, Upendra 6 p.m. is fine. Harshit 6 p.m. is perfectly fine. Okay, Tanish, thank you for your feedback. Okay, we'll be keeping it 6 p.m. only. The syllabus, or I should say curriculum, would be shared with you on the social platforms. Shalabh Bhaiya has already shared the Discord link. So it is where you can ask questions and you will get all the details about the future workshops. And then you would be getting all the information about what is going to be taught today or in the next workshop. So you can join in as you wish. And also these workshops will be in recorded form and will be uploaded in the GDSC community website. So if you missed or if your any other friend missed, so you can watch it there only. And apart from that, I think we can wrap up the session. So thank you guys for joining in. I hope you liked the session. Bye everybody.